Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. I've been considering the problem of the post-pandemic world. Because, Silverlight likes to work with that sort of things. And I realized the problem was the same in the pre-pandemic world. People just don't want to be going out and doing things. Now, let me clarify. People are willing to go out. People are willing to do things. But it has to be the right time and the right place. I like watching Bar Rescue and Kitchen Nightmares, and the same essential message comes from both of them. That message is very simple. What are you doing as a business, or what I'm going to explain here as an organization, to get people off their duff? Because people like to be at home, and it's a natural thing. You come home, you've been busy, you're tired, whatever it is, all your stuff is there. If you have kids, they're there, they need to be fed. If you're single, then you got your favorite stuff there, whether it's your cat, your dog, your video games, whatever it is that you might have. And it's a real commitment to then turn around, put on something, get ready to go, and, meet up a whole bunch of other people for whatever reason. Bars have this problem. Movie theaters are definitely suffering through it at the present time. And it all comes down to, hey, if you have $100 in your pocket, do you want to go use that to see 2 movies with your family? Or do you want to use that to watch, your Netflix subscription, Disney Plus, whatever, and have 4 or 5 good meals on that same amount of money? This is what people aren't getting. You can't just have a product. You have to have a good product and a hook. Years ago, and I'm old enough to remember this, people would come out to social clubs like the Lions Club and places like that, because that's where they met. That's where they made their connections. That era is gone. Yes, you still make connections. You still meet plenty of people just by volunteering at a political organization, but it's not the way it once was. You can make just as many contacts posting silly memes on Facebook and never putting on any pants. So, those organizations have to offer more bang for the buck, greater perceived value. A perceived value, that word perceived is chosen on purpose. They have to think they're getting something extra out of it. And the post-pandemic world, yeah, that perception's hard because we've just spent years of being hooked up to video chats and surfing with people and all that sort of stuff. So for organizations, like, I'm going to pick on the Lions Club a lot because I think they're pretty much renowned worldwide and everybody knows what they are. But even if you have a dart club, there's a place my father goes where they gamble on horses, although it's not the way you think. It's kind of randomized which horse is assigned to you, and you're only kicking in $2 or something. Royal Canadian Legion, if you want to know. It's fun. They do well off of it, and yeah, that's where they're making their money, because people go there, they watch the horses, but they're there to talk. And the bar's right there. I think they have some basic food, like chips or something like that. And people are happy to sit there for a couple hours. The bartending staff makes some money they wouldn't be making on a Thursday afternoon. Or is it a Friday? I forget. It's been a few years. And that's where places need to start going. Gaming stores, like with your D&D, your Magic, stuff like that. I remember when we used to get hounded at places, even for bringing out a deck of Magic cards. So, oh no, that's gambling. No, it isn't. But anyway, their bar, their rules. And now more and more places are encouraging that because they've started to realize the longer these people are sitting here, the more likely they are to have another drink, another coffee, another bowl of nachos, whatever it is. The perceived value is that the customer's coming out for an experience they can't get at home because these exact players are not all going to come back to their place. When I was reorganizing an organization, I had the simplest rules. Rule number one was when we come in, we do the work, but then when that's done, we play hard. I changed 2 meetings over to be completely open to the public because this is one thing that many organizations do a poor job of. If your significant other or friend or whoever disappears for a day or two a month, you're going to start getting a little bit suspicious. And I'm going to say that even is a little bit healthy. But by making 2 meetings open so that everybody could come in and introduce themselves, and we're just going to have, we did Novemberfest, which is Oktoberfest after the sausages went on sale so that we could get them cheap. Get a little liquor license, have some fun. And then spring, we did spring ceremonials, we did Valentine's Day. It's just something so it brings the families involved. I opened the Governor's Club, which is, it sounds really fancy, but there's a little pub around the corner called the Governor. And it was just a Friday, hey, if you're in the area, show up. And that got to be really big. And both of those events brought in more members than they've had before or since. How much money did I spend? None. We made money on the Novemberfest. We made money on the spring ceremonial, on all that stuff. And going to the pub, we didn't make any money, but we sure as heck didn't lose it. But the owner at the Governor, Sergey, so just Serge, but he did pretty well when he'd see the bunch of us come in because he knew he'd be selling a couple beers, a couple things to eat, and yeah, it made his day a heck of a lot better. Could he have done that without us deciding? No. So it's a double perceived value. There's a perceived value of, hey, these people I'm normally seeing in a formal setting, I'm now going to sit with casually and listen to what they talk about in their spare time. And the perceived value of, it costs us nothing to set up. We don't have to clean up. There's no deposits involved. We just basically come in and take over the bar every week. And it worked spectacularly. How do I know that? Because they eventually stopped doing that, and all of a sudden their source of new members dried up. Because I was giving them the perceived value. Again, political stuff. And people will volunteer for a political campaign, but it's a lot of hard work. It's going door to door. It's putting flyers in people's mailboxes. It's all that stuff and more. Perceived value. What are you getting out of it? Well, Silverlight is pretty skeptical when it comes to politics. But for those of you who know me, Silverlight is also a former campaign manager. And while I didn't get to implement all my ideas, they are using a few of them to this very day. And I'm not going to tell you what they all were, but basically it was designed to give volunteers a place to come out to volunteer, to help us out. You don't need to go door knocking. If you can just help organize the literature, put this part into this pile, whatever it is, and then while you're there, let's throw on a pot of coffee, a pot of tea, and then you can just have a big little laugh circle going on. People suddenly start saying, hey, you should come out and join us on this campaign. It's a peck of fun. But people don't want to hear that. Especially my generation who want to go out and make sure everything is the old ways. Well, the old ways don't work, and it's been proven over and over. If an organization cannot evolve, it will wind up buried. And nobody wants to see their favorite organization go under. In 2022, as of this recording, there's so many options available. The only chance you have to stick out is literally to put a sign out front and say, hey, great stuff happening here, and have word of mouth on your side. As for a business, I kind of like the way John Taffer renames his businesses. He says, okay, the old name is useless. Let's get rid of that and show people that we are turning over a new leaf. I like the way Gordon Ramsay goes in and says, your standards and practices are ridiculous. We're going to bring this in line with the modern, healthy way of doing things. And then we're going to make it simple. Because they both know not to be pretentious. Because when you start to be pretentious in your organization, you turn people off. And it doesn't take a lot for a person to come out, they have one bad day, and then, let's say the next Thursday, they're thinking, I want to go out, but last time John was really kind of a jerk. So you got to keep that perceived value. You got to be glad handing and making sure people are having a good time. Because it's the only way to move forward. I don't believe retail has much of a future, although there will still be certain retail. Like I said, game stores are learning other ways to monetize their space, and usually a lot of them have a lot of space just for playing games. Coffee shops, I don't think will ever completely go out of business, but the model's going to have to change. Like, you're going to need to have Wi-Fi there at all times because people expect it. Your drink choice, you have to come somewhere between Starbucks and Tim Hortons, where you do have the high-end drinks and the low-end drinks, and also something in the middle. But that's all in the branding, and people are forgetting their branding. I like to go on Skip the Dishes and Uber Eats and stuff like that, just to see what people are doing. And too many places, in my opinion, are trying to get too complicated. Okay, have a burger and offer bacon on it. Got no problem with that. But some of the burger places in this area, some of them are very good, and some of them are just loading sloppy bits of meat one on top of the other. Perceived value. If I can do better, cheaper at my place, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to do it. And so are you. And so is everybody else. So in general, if you're doing any sort of public service or public organization, you're competing with everybody at home. So you better have a plan, and it better involve everybody in that house. It's no longer, well, let me speak to the man of the house, or let me speak to whoever it is that makes the decisions involving roofing, or, that's 1970s ways of thinking. We got to do 2022 ways of thinking. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to click the link down in the comments, because that'll take you through to the books that we're selling. Each time you buy a book, really helps us show out, and we hope you have a fantastic day.